Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the FTR podcast. That's flowcharts, tactics boards, and other rubbish like that. So today we're going to be going through our.
Should we introduce ourselves first?
Okay.
You
I
go
like meat
first.
and gravy of it. So I'm Daniel. I'm a big Arsenal fan. I am deluded at points, but I'm self-aware, very self-aware.
Okay. My name is Giorgio. I am an Inter Milan fan. I'm not as deluded as Daniel because we actually won a Champions League. We actually won 2 of them. 3. Just joking.
In Italy, man. Italy. It's easy.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about first star predictions of what the Premier League will look like for this season. And then we're going to just have an overview of the first
matches.
match, yeah.
So with these, don't worry, we can verify we put these into our little group chat before the first matches took place. So obviously after talking through our predictions, we can see if our opinions have changed a little bit or anything like that based off of what we saw in the first match, which isn't much to go off of, but still. So let's go through our top 4. So for the top 4, I put, of course, Arsenal first, Man City second, I put Liverpool third, and then I put Newcastle 4th.
Okay.
So for your top 4 predictions, because I've got the phone.
Do you want me to say them, or do you want to?
Yeah, sure. You can
Okay,
say it.
sure.
You can say it. I'll let you do it. I'll let you.
My first 4: Arsenal first, Man City second, Liverpool third, and Aston Villa 4th.
See,
Do you want to expound on yours first?
Yeah. So I think Arsenal are going to win it because I think we were very close at the end of last season. Obviously, at this point, there was no news about Gundogan or anything like that. So the way I looked at it was, realistically, I don't think City have strengthened that much yet. Arsenal haven't either. However, the issues with Arsenal at the start of last season, mainly, was the new signings didn't really click into gear. Obviously, Timber was injured for the entire season. Havertz didn't score for a while. Wasn't firing on all cylinders. And obviously, now even looking at it, from the first match, Havertz scored and assisted and already. So it's quite easy for me to say, yeah, the team is better. Then obviously with the signing of Ricardo Calafiori, I think that gives us that defensive stability at left back, because when we do play against big boys like Liverpool with Mo Salah, for me, Zinchenko just gets rinsed every time. He's a great player, but defensively you can see that frailty, that weakness. So that's why I think we'll finish first. Obviously, if we're finishing first, Man City finish second, because I think there's going to be a gap between second and third. I think first and second will be close. Then Liverpool third for me, because I think, obviously, last season they've got a good squad. From what they've done in pre-season, they've been playing quite well, but I just don't think they have the players to be challenging at this point, because obviously they did last season, but that was with Jurgen Klopp there, who's Mr. Liverpool, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
He symbolises that club now for everyone, for generations, I think. So without him, it won't be the same. But I think Arne Slot is a good enough manager to get them that top 4. And then the reason why I put Newcastle 4th is, even though they had a stinker last season, you got to look at it. They had so many injuries. They had half their squad out for most of the season, and that was their first team players they wanted to start. They had to play young
Tonali
boys.
as well, that was banned from playing.
Exactly. They didn't even have one of their big signings who was, 80 million for him, was it?
I don't know. I know there was a lot, but I don't really remember.
I think it was like 80 million. So it was their key marquee signing since the new owners have came in, and he's able to play again soon.
But would he do as good as 2 years ago? Because last year he didn't play. He's been out for a year, right? So
yeah, there's the question of if Tonali will come back rolling, but I don't necessarily think he even has to. I just think if they have those injuries fixed up, remember they qualified for Champions League without Tonali.
True.
And at that point, Isak was injured for most of the season. So for me, I think if they keep Isak fit and a few other positions, then I think they should get top 4. That should be the goal for Newcastle. And I think they are getting slept on, if I'm being honest. What about your top 4? Talk about your reason.
Right, so I think the reason for me putting Arsenal first is because they've been so close for 2 seasons in a row now. They have a good manager that is pushing the players a lot, and he's He's gaining this experience in the Premier League. I mean, he was a player in the Premier League. He knows how it works and everything. But the recent signings as well, like what you were saying about Calafiori coming this season. He hasn't played the first match, but I think he's just still getting adjusted to all the environment and everything. But I think they're a really good squad. Kai Havertz has done really well in the World Cup, and I think that experience...
The Euros,
sorry. Why did I say World Cup? The Euros. And I think that experience is giving him a bit more, just confidence in himself, I guess. He was quite good last season. Man City, I mean, they've dominated everything, but I think that this season they might slip a little bit. From the first match they played quite well, but I mean they played against Chelsea. So,
see, I would actually disagree. From the first match when I watched it, obviously I'm watching as a hate watcher, hoping that Man City slip up at this point. But for me, I looked at it and I saw Chelsea had a good few chances. I'm actually quite hopeful about Chelsea after watching that first match. But obviously, I'll let you carry on.
You know what my thoughts about Chelsea are, but that's all right. Then Liverpool, same thing as you. Like, to be fair, I think they're gonna get third only because they need to get adjusted to the new manager. He's been the manager of Liverpool for ages now, and a lot of the players had Klopp as their manager for like 5-6 years or something like that. So, like, look at Momo Salah. Like, how long has he been playing for Liverpool now with Klopp?
He only played under Klopp, so
yeah,
it's a new system for all the players there.
Exactly. So, and then Aston Villa again from last season, they have played really, really well. They were quite a good surprise. So I won't be surprised if they get fourth again.
You see, the only thing I would say is with Aston Villa, they've got Champions League though this season, and remember Champions League's bigger, so they're playing 8 group stage matches.
Yeah, but they can still do it.
You think they have the squad depth? Okay, because I'm thinking if an Ollie Watkins or if a John McGinn, if any of that back line, if a Pau Torres gets injured, I just think that's basically top 4 over for him.
We'll see what happens. I mean, they have won the first... Well, it's just only the first match, but...
It's against a good West Ham team, so it's a good challenge. But for me, it's they haven't started playing in Champions League yet. Once that does happen, I think it might produce a few complications.
I get you, yeah. We'll see. I'm hopeful for them. They play Arsenal next Saturday.
Yeah, that stresses me out, honestly. For the past couple of seasons, man, ever since Unai Emery came in, it just feels like Villa, they come at us swinging.
Yeah, but I think that's it for me. Like, there's not really much to say as of right now, but I think this is what... Looking at the previous season, I think that this could happen.
So one thing I would obviously I know my reasoning behind it, but just a little talking point I think is no Man United and no Chelsea, no Spurs in our top 4s. Why is that for you?
Why is that for me?
Yeah. Why do you think?
There's not the good mentality. I mean, look at Chelsea. How many players have they got in their squad or like and how many of them have the chance to play right now?
Yeah,
they've got loads of good quality players, but they don't have the time to actually develop them. I don't think that the mentality that there is in the club right now is the good one to get into like a top 4 or even Champions League or like anything like that. Man United, I think it's the same thing, to be honest. Like, they've been a bit poopy for the last 3-4 years.
What I'd say is maybe not speak too much about Man United because I see they're in one of your other predictions. But what about Spurs? Obviously, I'm happy that Spurs aren't in either of our top 4s.
I think they're cursed. even without Harry Kane, they've got good players. Like, look at Son. I know that not everybody likes Son. I think he's a quality player. I think he's a really good player. Look at all the just looking at him, the captain and everything. But I don't know. I think it's just a curse, to be honest. They never won anything, have they? And I'd be really, I wouldn't say I'd be happy for them, but I'd be surprised if they actually win anything this season. First match they drew with Leicester, a newly promoted team. But we'll talk about Leicester in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't put Spurs in because I think with Postecoglou at the end of last season, it just didn't look too happy. Obviously, with the season ending, then I think it was very advantageous. I think Postecoglou is a good manager. I'd like to say that first and foremost, but I don't think he's a top level manager based off what I saw last season. Because the high line, I mean, I think it was against Chelsea actually. They had players sent off and they were playing this ridiculously high line and they would get spun in every time. And if that wasn't Chelsea, if that was an Arsenal or a City, it would have been game over. It would have been 5 or 6. That's the only way I look at it. And I just think if you're stubborn like that, you need to have the players for it. If not, you have to learn to be flexible. And I just don't think they have that. Obviously, after the first game of the season, we've got the privilege of being able to talk about that. I mean, looks like we're both right. And then, obviously, Man United, one of my other predictions in something else coming up. So I won't talk about them too much. And then Chelsea, I agree with you. I think they've got a lot of players. I think they'll do better than last season, but I don't think they've shown anything which makes me think, oh yeah, top 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the signings they've got in positions where they've already got too many players in, and their midfield, I look at that and I just think issues. Dewsbury Hall, good signing, but I look at Fernandes and Caicedo and I just don't rate them.
They're getting quite old as well.
Who?
Fernandes and Caicedo. Who
How
else
old
play?
are they?
Let's check.
Pull it up for me. I want to see this because
He's 29, Fernandes.
Enzo Fernandez.
Bruno Fernandes.
Oh no, I mean Enzo Fernandez and Moise
sorry.
Caicedo for Chelsea.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about
I was about to say
Man.
because I was like, I know Bruno Fernandez is around that age. I was like, Enzo Fernandez, I thought was like in his early 20s.
He's 23. No, sorry,
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about Man United. My bad.
No, I skipped over them.
Caicedo's 22. No, yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
again, they've got tons of players for that. You know, for this.
For the wings position, it's where they sign all their players. I mean, even obviously now we can see João Felix signed, and
For whatever reason.
he's a forward. He's in that area. I'd play him up top because I don't think they've got anyone better.
But when would you play him?
What in striking position?
Yeah.
Every week. I'm starting him over Nicholas Jackson because I'm not being funny. Nicholas Jackson last season he was poor. It's like there was all the memes and I mean, obviously I don't know his stats or anything, but the way I look at it is I saw him last season and it was just uninspiring. He was just a player who, when he was through, he never had that heart in your mouth moment, which you get with those killers. You know what I mean? Those players up top, even the decent players up top, who you know what, he's going to bury this. So that's my reasoning behind Chelsea not being there. I think they'll do better this season. I think they'll be in Europe next year, but I don't think that'll be Champions League.
Would you not play Palmer?
Not up top. I'd play him on the wing because on that right wing is where he's been scoring all his goals.
Yeah. But
Which raises an issue for Chelsea though, because they signed Pedro Neto, who that's his favourite position.
Exactly. I don't know. It's just I don't know what to do. To be fair, with this squad, they've got too many good players.
I think it's just erratic signings. I mean, obviously they
They
sold.
got too much money.
I mean, it's interesting. I heard the comment. I can't remember who it was from, but they said with Chelsea, there's this feeling of, oh well, they need to sell these academy players like Trevor Chalobah, Conor Gallagher to raise up funds. What do they do after selling Conor Gallagher? They buy a player immediately from Atletico. You know what I mean? Like, clearly they don't need to sell him to raise these funds. They're spending it on someone else.
Exactly. But that's fine. And I don't like Cucurella. I'm sorry, but I don't like Cucurella.
Oh, I despise the man. I despise him. I loved. Did you see the Haaland?
Exactly. I was
sent that to
waiting,
me, didn't you? Yeah.
Exactly. I was waiting for that.
I was loving
There
it.
is this guy that I know, and he's a Spanish guy, and I despise him because when Spain won the Euros, he just started spamming like a group chat with Spain is the best team and just putting all this stuff about Cucurella. And honestly, I was so happy when there was the meme about him having cramps on the pitch and Haaland looking at him like, you dirty.
Now you know how I felt when Italy won the Euros. That's what I'm saying.
What can
That's
I
what
say?
I'm saying.
Although On a side note, there was a guy that I talked to when I went for my haircut, and he said that he loved the Italian side when they won the Euros. He said that they deserved to win it.
You did deserve to win it. You played really good football,
But I never heard a single English person saying that Italy deserved to win the Euros in 2021. It was me, myself, an Italian. I don't think we deserved to win it. I'm happy that we won it, not gonna lie, but it was quite surprising.
The reason why I think you guys deserve to win it is because your manager was managing the
and
team
now
to
he's
get
going
the
to
best
Saudi
out of it.
Arabia. I mean,
That's true, but he was able to get them to perform really well. Our manager didn't. We went 1-0 up in a final, and 1-0 often isn't enough to win a match. You want to go for more. Gone are the days, obviously I will know as an Arsenal fan, 1-0 to the Arsenal and everything. Gone are those days. You have to be able to take chances. You can't just sit back and soak up pressure. And that's what we try to do when our defence is our weak point. Nevertheless, back to the predictions.
No, okay, yeah. Sorry, side note. Anyway, are we looking at the bottom three now?
Yeah, so our bottom threes. Do you want me to go first because you went first last time? Oh, no, I
You
went first last
yeah,
time. Yeah,
I'll
never
go.
mind.
So I think it's going to be Everton, Southampton, and Forest.
No Leicester. That's the big question for me.
Okay, yes, we had this discussion. No Leicester, although they have the point deduction and everything. My thoughts are that Leicester have got the more experience in the Premier League. I know there's only Jamie Vardy, but look at the man. First game back in the Premier League, and he scores a goal, and he's just too good. And I think that they can make it. Maybe they'll get 17th, 16th. I'm not saying mid-table or anything, but I think that they will survive.
I think that they will potentially get relegated. And I think without those...
What's your bottom three then?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Almost forgot that then. So I've got Forest, Southampton, and then Leicester bottom. So Forest 18th, Southampton 19th, and then Leicester rock bottom. So we've both got Southampton 19th. I mean, it's one of those. I just think Southampton, same as Leicester, you look at them and you think, oh yeah, they belong to be in the Premier League. But nobody does. The way I look at it is that Southampton team is quite weak. They're not super strong or anything. I don't think they've got a manager who's inspiring. Who's their manager? Can you pull that up?
Of
Southampton.
Southampton.
Who is their manager? Because I can't think of it off the top of my head.
What is it? Russell Martin, a Scottish guy.
I look at it and I just think, with Leicester, they've got someone who has experience of keeping a team up in Steve Cooper. And I don't think they do. Obviously, neither of us have got Ipswich in our bottom three, which means we both think they're staying up.
Well, looking at the first match, watching how Ipswich played, I know that they lost 3-0, but it was against Liverpool. When was the last time that Ipswich was in the Premier League? 20 years ago?
2008.
So
just under.
Yeah,
just under
exactly.
20 years, yeah.
For actually playing that game, they didn't even, they defended quite well in the first half. And I think it's because Ed Sheeran was watching. He was at the stadium. And so
as soon as he leaves, they can see.
Exactly. They were just oh, he's here. We can't mess it up. But anyway, they played quite well. And I think that gaining the experience, I mean, we've still got quite a few matches. It's only the first one. I think that they can stay up.
I think against most teams, they'll be able to get a result out, at least at home, because the way that they stuck in, and I think they'll get easier chances against many of the teams, because obviously Liverpool first team, they want to come out with a win in their first match, because I think it was the statistic of no Liverpool manager since, I can't remember who it was donkeys years ago, before either of us were born, had ever won their first match as manager in the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp drew, most of them lost. It was either losses or draws. He was the first manager to win, so although you hear a lot in football, we don't know this sort of stuff, he'll have heard it. Someone would have mentioned it to him, and he'll want to win. And that's a good mentality to have. However, I just think Ipswich, against your Forest, Southamptons, even Everton's, I reckon they'll get results out, and I reckon they'll stay up. I think they'll be close to relegation. They'll be in those close places, but they'll stay.
Yeah, but I think that Everton has played not quite well last season. I don't know if who have they got in the squad. Like,
they've been selling some good players, but they've got some good players in defence.
I mean,
It's
like,
up top,
they've got
the issues.
Young in defence. Oh, my iPad just had a meltdown. But
Yeah,
Young is not that young anymore. Like,
he's about 40. It feels
exactly. Like, he's got experience, but
I mean,
he's old.
It's one of those. I look at the Everton squad and I was really thinking, you know what? Maybe we'll see something change in the summer or something like that. Because the main thing I feel like they need is they need that forward. Because obviously they had Richarlison, they had Anthony Gordon, who were good for them. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin used to be good for him, and ever since like being in and out of the team, he's really struggled to hit that form again.
Yeah, but Calvert-Lewin again is 27 now, so he's getting older. So.
Yeah, but 27 should be the start of his prime. You know what I mean? That's not like if he was 30, 27 is the start of you're thinking this player's kicking on.
When is the prime of a player? Let's define that.
I'd say 27 to 30. Once they reach 30, they'll start falling off a bit.
I think the prime is 23, 24.
No chance.
I think it's the age when the players play the best.
You can argue that now the people's prime is moving down a bit in age, but not to 23, 24. 23, 24 players are starting to get settled into their team. But I mean, look at Gundogan. He's coming back to Man City. Did anyone know who he was?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? When he was 23, 24, he was nowhere near as good as he is now, because with a lot of players, they have to learn that trade. And don't get me wrong, we've got a lot of players who are good at that age group now.
Yeah.
Like, look at Bukayo Saka's and everything. He's 23, I believe.
Yeah.
When you look at players like that, I'm pretty sure he is. Because he's 1 year older than me.
I trust you. You are.
So
22.
Oh, okay. He'll be 23 soonish, I reckon. He
5th of September.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Happy birthday, Bukayo Saka.
I hope he'll be scoring some goals. Birthday celebration. I want to be celebrating extra.
He's already scored a goal this season and an assist.
One of each is not enough. You have to understand this.
I mean,
when challenging for the Premier League,
look, they played Wolves, but yeah.
This is no disrespect to him, but this is always the mindset which I think top elite level footballers have to have. You look at it, you come in and you say, okay, every single match I'm playing in, I will score, I will assist.
How many goals do you think he's going to score this season?
Bukayo Saka
alone, yeah.
I think he's going to score 16. I don't think he'll hit 20, but I think he's going to pop off. I think, because with Saka, you see different parts of the season, he struggles because at the moment, since we don't really have any cover on that right wing, he's playing through injury. I mean, last season, a lot of people were mocking him for like basically stuttering off and everything, like, oh, I need help. Yeah, because he's injured. He's playing through injuries and getting kicked. If you look at Saka,
he's played at Euros as well.
He gets kicked a lot. He plays every match, and that's going to lead to stuff like that. Which, I mean, you could also say is a negative towards Arteta if you wanted to, but I personally would say not really. And that top elite level players have to do that, and Saka's getting used to it. I mean, we saw it last season. There was a little bit where he was struggling to score because everyone knew he wanted it on his left foot just to wrap it round. Then he started smacking it in top near bins with his right foot. He did that like 3 matches in a row, and everyone was like, literally. Obviously you guys won't know the context. I love screaming "smack it" whenever I'm playing football, just because I think it's funny. I just think, why not? Just have a go. Have a go.
Right.
So back to actually our bottom three, because we went off topic.
No, I think we covered it pretty well, to be honest. We didn't
discuss each team. We didn't discuss Forest, for example.
Forest has been shocking last season. See, I don't know how they didn't get relegated.
I'll tell you one thing I'm happy about Forest. Apparently they're wanting Eddie Nketiah off of us. I'll let him have him, man. I'm not going to lie. Eddie Nketiah, I think he's a okay backup for when you're challenging for those top 4 positions. But I think, for me, it's very difficult because we took that very sudden step from challenging for top 4 for challenging for the league. So we've got a lot of players who are squad players for a top 4 team, but not for a champions team.
Okay, I get what you mean. And I agree.
Yeah, so I just want them to sell him.
There's nothing else you can say about it.
I just want him gone, and no disrespect to him, obviously. I like him, he's an academy boy, but I want him gone. We get the money in, and we can sign a different striker. And then that means we get a bit more help up top.
Okay. Who would you sign for Arsenal?
Oh, obviously, we just got a there we land for Mikel Moreno. So obviously, I'm happy with that. But I would personally sign Victor Gyökeres.
Okay.
I think, given the time in the window, they know that they probably can't cash in on him too much. So I reckon 60 million we could get him. Because I think with Havertz, he's good enough already to be able to play in most weeks. We've got Jesus. And then if we get a Victor Gyökeres, his passing's good. In the Portuguese league, which obviously is nowhere near the Prem. We've seen that with Darwizi, you know what I mean? So, for me, I always look at it and think, we've got to adjust it, but he did really well. Very clinical, very powerful. Right. He's a big guy, 6 foot tall, hulky geezer. You can hoof it long, and I reckon he'll be able to touch it down. Then that also means you can play Jesus on the right to give Saka a break finally. But that's personally me. I don't think we'll do that, though. I don't think we'll sign a striker.
I think that the team that Arsenal has got, I know we're going off topic again and talking about Arsenal.
Oh, I love it.
The squad that Arsenal has got right now is quite good. The forwards are there, and we've got Saka, Havertz, and Martinelli. The problem is if they get injured.
Well, I mean, you got to trust it. I mean, the only debate is with Martinelli on the left.
Okay.
Because I mean, with Martinelli on the left.
Oh, they're knocking on the door again.
I don't think so. I'll check. I don't think so. Birthday, one of them probably.
Oh, thank you. Let's show the public. I've just got a birthday present apparently.
It just arrived.
Oh, get in! No way, that's so sick. Thank you.
It was the new home kit, which we both agreed looked a bit smelly for Inter Milan. So I tried to cancel it because I realised, oh wait, that home kit's not very nice. It's the player version too, so it's meant to be more bougie.
Martinez. Let's put well. I put it in instead of Maldini.
He's put it on there instead of Maldini. Oh, anything can happen on this podcast, man. Anything can happen. Oh, R.I.P. Maldini. He was only the greatest centre back of all time.
I respect that, but look.
For those who can't hear, because Giorgio's speaking without a mic, he said he respects that, but look.
I'm gonna fold it.
Oh wow, he's folding it very respectfully, very respectfully.
Put it on top of here.
Very respectfully. Wow, Lautaro, good. I like the little writing on the back. I never noticed that. So very nice indeed. Wow. I'm not going to lie, I did not expect that to come. It's not something I've paid for, but oh well. I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining either.
Of course you're not.
That's fine.
Every time I end up ordering something for him, Inter Milan related, he got that twice because for some reason just 2 arrived. He's got an extra thing. It's just for some reason it loves Giorgio.
What can I say? I'm very lovable.
You are. What's it called? So, I can't remember what point we were in the middle of making.
Just about Forest and how not good they've been.
Yeah, with Forest, I mean, for me, I've got them relegated, but I've got them top of the relegation zone. You've got them bottom. For me, I think they'll be challenging, same as last year, because I think their players, there's difficulty there. They played really well in their opening match at the start and then let it slip, which I think is Forest's way at the moment, is they'll play well either towards the end or to the start. They can't maintain it for the whole match, and because of that, they concede and they lose points, they lose matches. It's just, I don't think it's a good decision for them, and I think their transfer strategy is like a relegation zone Chelsea. They look for players who look shiny and they're like, oh wow, new toy, we'll pick them up, bring them in, and it doesn't work out. It doesn't
work out, yeah.
I mean, what's it called? Their striker, I can't remember his name. He's always injured. He's a really good forward. I really like him.
They still got him.
Yeah. And Wai or something like that. I cannot pronounce it, and I'm not going to pretend to be able to pronounce it.
No, try.
I mean, once I see it in writing, I'll be able to try a bit better. But forwards,
I want to hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I tried for you, but yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But for him, I look at it and I say, you know what? He's a good forward. I believe that he will do well if he was fit, and he'd probably help Forest get out of the relegation zone. 2 of the 3 seasons he's played so far, he's been injured for most of it. He's not reliable, and that's the issue. Is they've got a really good forward, but he's never fit.
Fair enough.
Ready to move on to the next
I think,
bit?
yeah, we can move on to...
Disappointment of the season. We both got the same thing, which I like.
Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Manchester United. So the reason I put Manchester United there is I think a lot of people are very much so overestimating them. I just see what they did last season as just really poor, to be honest. Like, obviously they won an FA Cup, and I think Ten Hag is a good cup competition manager. Like, he can do well in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup and stuff like that, but he's terrible in the league.
Right, but look at the mentality of when they won the FA Cup and they played against Coventry. I will only say one thing, actually. I'll do one thing.
The Anthony celebration
Exactly.
cranking out. I love it, man.
It's just the mentality, again, the mentality of the players and the team overall. It's been off for the past 4 or 5 years. They've not done anything. Like, what have they actually done?
Yeah, I mean,
won one FA Cup.
They won a Carabao Cup.
They actually qualified for a Champions League.
They were in the Champions League last year.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But
yeah, but how did they do? Did they get 4th in the group stages or 3rd?
I think they got 4th and got knocked out of everything altogether.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So look, even if we qualify for the Champions League and then you do shockingly,
it's one of those. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, obviously there was a huge period where we weren't in the Champions League, and there was that debate towards the end of it. To be fair, obviously at the start they're like, "Oh, I want to be in Champions League. I want to be in Champions League." And then after a while, I remember sitting there and I was like, "Do I even want to be?" Like, towards the end of us being in Champions League, we're getting thumped by Bayern Munich. You know what I mean? And it's humiliating. It's embarrassing. Everyone's mocking you. I'd rather be in the Europa League at that point. Genuinely.
But again, it's Bayern Munich.
Yeah, but at some point you're going to face a top dog and you're going to get just turned over by him. So I think for Man United, this is a very bold thing for me to say. I'll say it here. I think they're going to finish 8th. I think they're going to get no European football next season. And I think Ten Hag will get sacked by Christmas.
I was going to say probably, 6th, 7th, maybe 8th. I don't know.
I just look at it and I think their squad, what have they added to it this summer? So they had one young striker who doesn't score many goals for another young striker who doesn't score many goals, both from the Serie A. You know what I mean? Like, okay, wow, well done. How have you improved? For me, if I was the Man United people in charge, I'd be looking at it saying, okay, personally, I don't see it with Højlund. I don't think he's got that instinct to be an out-and-out goal scorer. So I'd be looking at it saying, okay, how do we change this? How do we move it around a little bit? How do we get somebody in who can score goals for the moment and then Højlund take over? What have they done? They brought in another youngster.
Yeah.
I just don't see it
think
working.
it's very smart. Yeah, I completely
Because they've given
agree with
him
you.
the number 11, Xerxes, and then they've given Højlund number 9.
And again, with looking at the first match that they had, they played against Fulham. We're going to talk about Fulham in a second, but 1-0. They struggled a lot.
I mean...
And Fulham played brilliantly, I believe.
Really? I watched it and I thought Fulham played poorly. I expected so much more from Fulham.
Really? In
Genuinely. Because with Fulham, they play really good football, and usually I would expect them to turn a team over like that. Obviously, it's at Old Trafford, which does skewer it more in Man United's favour, but I expected more from Fulham there, more attacking threat. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I've got big hopes for Emile Smith-Rowe, but I just think for Fulham, I expected a lot more in that opening match. I expect them to put a little bit of a statement out there.
Looking at the stats, though, look, they've got... We're going ahead and talking about the first...
It's alright. It's to do with United.
Yeah.
It's to do with United.
But look at the ball possession. Ball possession. 55% from Man United and 45% from Fulham. Total
Get
shots.
that closer to your mouth, man. Get it close to your mouth.
Total shots. 14 for Man United and only 4 less for Fulham. 10. And then shots on target 2 for Fulham and 5 for Man United. What you were saying about playing at Old Trafford, yes, that plays, in all the equation, and they don't have as many supporters going there and everything. You're right. Oh, you were looking at there.
Yeah, I've just been looking back and forth between all the stuff.
Okay. Cool. But again, it's only the first match of the season. I think that there's still a lot to give, and they got a good squad.
Yeah, definitely.
And look, Man United scored at the 87th minute. Like,
I know it was very last gasp sort of stuff, and I think with United we've seen that with Solskjaer, we've seen that with other people before it. At a certain point, once the players don't like the manager anymore, they give up, and I think that's a thing which I learned a lot, especially when obviously I relate a lot of it to Arsenal because I know a lot about Arsenal compared to other clubs.
Oh, really?
I know, surprise. But I look at it and I think, I see Arteta coming in, and with those players at first, you had to buy them in. Yet those players, if you gave them the chance, your Aubameyangs, your Lacazettes, your Guendouzi's, all that sort of players, they would have given up on the manager immediately. But what he has to do is he has to bite his tongue a little bit and slowly change it. With Ten Hag, he's coming in and he's going, no. I mean, there was Garnacho issues last season. There was Sancho issues last season. There was Marcus Rashford issues last season. It feels like every season, if there's a bit of a poor spell, he finds a player to throw under the bus.
Yeah.
He did it with We did it with Ronaldo. He's done it with Sancho. I'm just thinking, who's he going to do it this season? Obviously, Sancho's still there, so it might be him again. But I just think that's his get out of jail free card with the fans. It's like, oh, well, this player's really mean. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, if he is, get rid of him. Terminate his contract if needs be. That's what we had to do for a lot of the players we had, which were dead weight. We had freaking Kolasinac, Socrates, Mustafi, and I love him at heart. But Hector Bellerin, you know what I mean? Like, we had a very poor back line. Worse than this United team, which Ten Hag's came into. The only difference is it's the culture, which I think is similar.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because it's that culture of a team which in the past has won so much. And
I mean, are they the biggest club in the world?
I'd say Real Madrid.
No, as in, you know, support, like the fans, or like the support that they have around the world.
I would still say Real Madrid.
We need to have a look at that, but yeah, one of the biggest teams.
Let's definitely one of the biggest. Definitely. Only reason I'd say Real Madrid is because obviously since United have been dropping off, Real Madrid
how many Champions Leagues? How many Champions Leagues?
Exactly. You look at the best players in the world and you look at Real Madrid.
Yeah, everybody knows Real Madrid. I guess because of Ronaldo as well. Like,
oh yeah, of course, he went over there, huge influence. I mean, I saw something today and it was actually quite interesting. It was Rodrigo talking about how everyone was talking about Mbappe, Vinicius, and Bellingham, and he was like, "You need to add an R to that. You need to add Rodrigo." And I think Rodrigo is, don't get me wrong, criminally underrated, but you look at the difference. That's like first, second, third in the Ballon d'Or, and then Rodrigo is like top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like there is that gap there, 100%. But it's just, you look at the best players, and Real Madrid is scary. I hope they get knocked out in Champions League early, man. Early. You thought I just had a hope they get knocked out then. That's why you're giggling.
But no. Okay, looking at the overachievers this season, we put the same thing again.
We have, and that was
1, 2, 3.
Fulham. First game of the season.
I think we both agreed the same. Like, we had an extensive conversation about this. And the conclusion we both came to was that they don't have any players that has played during the summer, and they are in a good, form and everything. And they played quite well last season. What?
See,
position were they like? Were they?
I had two teams I was picking between. I had Fulham, and then I also had West Ham. I let Fulham edge it because I just think manager-wise, their manager's better. Is it Marco Silva?
I think so.
I think it's Marco Silva. I know his last name's Silva. I just can't remember the first name. Let's just double check.
Marco Silva, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Obviously, with him, I just think he's a really good manager. He's kept them up in the league, but not just kept them up. He's kept them up convincingly so. That team is a solid Premier League team at the moment. It'll take at least a couple of years for them to fall off completely.
Yeah.
If that does happen at all. So I look at them and I think,
if they keep momentum, I don't think that they will fall. How long have they been in the Premier League for now? Since they got promoted from
maybe 3-4 years, something like that, I believe. If you look at their history in the league,
Oh, let's go into So they got promoted in 2022. So this is the third season that they are in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think they got over that hurdle, that second Premier League season, easily. Most teams don't. If you stay up for one season, it's that next season where you're like, oh.
Well, they've done it a couple. So in 2018 they got promoted, and then they got relegated, and they promoted and relegated, and now promoted, and they've been in the Premier League for 3 seasons.
Obviously, had that experience of being in the Premier League to help them out. But look at what's it called, Norwich. They were up and down every year, and now they're in the Championship, stuck there because they didn't have what they have in Marco Silva. A quality manager who has the vision and the board backs him fully. And I think when you look at even the squad, I think it's a really good energy they've got. I was watching it with tears in my eyes. I'm joking, not actual tears. But when Emile Smith-Rowe was having his interview after scoring in his first match and everything, and there was Iwobi coming up to him, obviously another ex-Arsenal player, and then Calvin Bassey. And the energy in that dressing room, I think, is very positive, very friendly. It's very much so, yeah, we get things done. And realistically, I don't think there's a weight of expectation on them. You know what I mean? There's no, we expect you to get European football.
Yeah, everybody expects them to be mid-table.
Exactly. I think they'll get Europe. I think they'll get either Conference League or Europa
League.
League.
I think Conference League.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hope for an Europa League just yet.
I'd be surprised if they got Europa League, but I'm thinking if they're in that position, they'll be challenging. I don't think they'll get it as Europa League, but they'll be challenging.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's it from the overture. But manager of the season.
We've got different ones. I'll let you go first.
Well, I got Arteta. I think I've said it at the beginning. He has been a great manager for 2 seasons in a row. Like, they got second 2 seasons in a row. He's been quite good with the players that he's been managing. Not as top level as, Man City. But still, he brought Arsenal back in the Champions League and all sorts. Like, he was quite good this past 2 seasons. He has the experience as a player in the Premier League. He knows how it works. He knows what he's doing. And if Arsenal wins the Premier League again this season, I don't know why he wouldn't be the manager of the season.
So for me, obviously, I believe we're going to win the Premier League, so I think he will actually win manager of the season. I just wanted to put something a bit... Give someone some flowers.
Yeah.
Give someone some flowers, you know what I mean? It's not even controversial. I put Marco Silva. Obviously, I believe Fulham are going to play really well. So, I look at that and I say, that'll be up to him completely. What he's done for that club is absolutely spectacular. You look at, as I mentioned, so many of those teams that get promoted and just fall straight back down. Promoted, fall straight back down. And yeah, they had the little stutter beforehand, but they've stayed up, and it looks like they're going to stay up for a while. They're a solid Premier League team. When you go to Craven Cottage, don't get me wrong, only because Arsenal are challenging for the Premier League, I'm going there confidently. But if it was back in the days where it was challenging for top 4, I'd be bricking it, man. I would be.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I still think that Arteta is going to be the manager of the season.
Yeah, I think, obviously, if Arsenal do win the league, it'll be him. And obviously, I think if City win the league, it'll be Pep.
Pep, yeah.
Because it's looking like...
But I'm tired of seeing Pep winning.
I know.
It's tired. He's a quality manager, but enough now.
Yeah, I'm tired of him. I've had enough. I've had enough of Pep. he can go on holiday. Let him go on holiday for a couple seasons at least.
I loved him in Ted Lasso, though.
He deserves Oscar nomination.
Yes, indeed.
Even though it's not a film.
BAFTA nominations, all sorts, like for being there for 2 minutes.
So
I've changed my mind, by the way, for player of the season. That was just banter.
No, we have to go for this, and then you can mention who mine might have changed to or whatever. But you have to go for who you put in there. Because the match has been played now.
I did this as a meme. He hasn't even played the first.
Do you want to go first?
Yes, I've not confidently, but I put it as a joke. Calafiori.
He did not put it as a joke. He's doing it because he's Italian.
I freaking love Calafiori, not because he's Italian, but because he's a quality defender. And, I know that Italy hasn't played very well this eras. I was quite sad about it. But looking at his previous season with Bologna, he was the core of the freaking team. And I'm quite sad that he's left Bologna, but not so sad because he's now playing in England. which is where I'm living right now. Like, I mean, I watch both leagues, but I think he's got the great potential to be one of the best defenders in the Premier League this season. And maybe if he keeps going the Premier League, full stop, in general. I know that it's quite early to say everything about, all these things, but
yeah,
we all say that he reminds us of Maldini and his...
Yeah, obviously because of his look and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those, he reminds you of that Maldini, Nesta, that sort of stuff. But for me, I think it's having him as signing of the season, it shows how good our recruitment have got it, to be honest. Because obviously Juventus, it looked like we're just set on for it, and then obviously they got Thiago Motta. And I look at other clubs and I think, you know what I mean? I would have bought him. Man United, for example, should, obviously if they're the recruitment as good as Arsenal's, should have went in for him.
Yeah, but you're happy now that he's at Arsenal.
Oh, I'm overjoyed. I really think he's a good player, and I think he'll come through. Obviously, we're giving him time because he doesn't have to get rushed into the squad. That's the beauty of us having a established, top, challenging team now.
Arsenal overall has got a good defence.
Oh, very good, very good. Obviously, Ben White, Tomiyasu, you've got Saliba, you've got Gabriel, you've got Kivior, you've got
Calafiori,
Calafiori, and then you've got Zinchenko. You've got really good back line there and a lot of different combinations. Obviously, I'll keep this.
I will play Calafiori instead of Zinchenko all day long.
Personally, I would, but I think at the moment it looks like we're going to be playing Timber instead. I think, which I think it'll change to Calafiori after a while because Timber's right-footed.
So Arsenal is playing Aston Villa next, and I think they should start either Zinchenko or Timber, and then put Calafiori.
I think they're going to start
the second half.
I think they're going to. I'm actually very in between. I think they should start Timber, but I think we'll start Zinchenko. That's what I think will happen.
Controversial.
Because I think Timber's more defensively sound, and against someone like Ollie Watkins, or I can't remember who plays on that right wing for him. Leon Bailly, I think. I believe it's him who plays on that right wing for him. So there's a pacey person in there we need a good defender against, and I think Timber's that man. I think with Zinchenko, we'll be exposed a little bit on the counter and stuff, and I think that's dangerous.
Okay.
But my signing of the season, obviously there's not been loads of signings to be fair, but I think Füllkrug for
I thought we were
West Ham.
talking about player of the season.
No, it's signing of the season.
Oh.
If you look up, I said signing of the season.
Player of the season.
Oh, player of the season. Wow. Yeah, I did say that. Never mind. Either way, I'm still going to go with
that's
it.
why I said Calafiori was a meme, because I don't think you... Look, I think, my prediction for player of the season is Haaland. I've got this thing with Haaland.
That's so boring.
I don't care. He's good. He's a machine.
So I put Füllkrug as signing of the season, because we'll say we did signings first.
Signing of the season, Calafiori.
My signing of the season, Füllkrug. Because I think with Füllkrug, you look at him, the way he's able to play.
That missing tooth.
He is proper West Ham. You know what I mean? I didn't think that signing would ever happen. Obviously, saw him in Champions League that season, really good. Like, just a guy you can rely on up top instead of Mikel Antonio. You can't. I think that'll change West Ham so much. And I think it's a shame David Moyes isn't there. He's a David Moyes player right there. Who fit long, just let him do his business. I think he did a great job for Germany in the Euros. Looking at, didn't start over Havertz though.
I know, but look at the goals that he scored.
Oh yeah,
very important goals.
Important. He can come off the bench, do stuff. He can also start and play well. Very good player.
He was a tank. Just going and started playing a really physical bum goal. Really good.
Definitely. So I'll say for my player of the season then, because obviously I believe Arsenal are going to win it, Martin Ødegaard.
Controversial. Another Norwegian.
Oh yeah, Norway's just winning right now. Any Norwegians are just like yes. But the reason why I think Martin Ødegaard is, I obviously think Arsenal are going to win the Premier League, and therefore I think player of the season will be an Arsenal player.
Okay.
And I look at that squad, and obviously I've made the prediction of Saka scoring 16, 17 goals or something like that. But Ødegaard is that man. He's that guy. When I watch Arsenal play, I think if I'm a neutral and I'm watching that match, whoever we're playing against, he's the man I'm wanting to watch. The stuff he does is just so beautiful to watch. That assist in the Champions League against Porto, where he just like drags it and then just slides it through to Trossard. Honestly, it was beautiful. I mean, it was a couple of seasons ago now, but he did a slide tackle against Iwobi when Iwobi was at Everton, and he did it into like a weird little touch with the side of his foot. It was the most flair-based slide tackle I've ever seen. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing?
And you were quite happy about it, weren't you?
I was loving it. I was making a lot of noises. Inappropriate noises. Honestly.
I remember.
It was beautiful. And I just think, if we continue that way, Ødegaard will win.
Okay.
So, for the matches, let's get up what matches have already occurred then.
I wanted to look at my iPad, but it had a meltdown and it's not working properly.
So,
yeah, we're going to look at the
obviously, we've already spoke
very
about
quickly.
Man United Fulham, so we'll kind of just ignore that one for now. So, West Ham Villa.
Wait. I thought the Liverpool Ipswich was 3-0.
Oh, no, it was only 2.
What happened to the third goal? Probably was offside.
Might have just never happened. I don't know.
I promise you, I remember.
I don't think I watched towards the end of the match. I think I was...
Because Ed Sheeran wasn't there anymore,
Yeah. No, I don't like Ed Sheeran, to be fair. I'll be real. Podcast's over, boys. I'm joking.
He's got a pretty little goal.
So, for me, I look at it and I think... West Ham Villa. Did you manage to watch that match or anything?
No, I didn't.
So, for me, I went into that thinking West Ham would do well. But, obviously, they still played really well, but Villa just edged it. And I think, for me, that shows... With Villa, they are obviously still a good team, same as last season, but Champions League hasn't came in yet, so I don't think we'll see them falter until that starts up. But West Ham showed that they played well, they went down and they were playing really poorly, and then they started just turning up, which I was really happy about because the first half was boring as hell. It was just Villa just slapping them.
Yeah.
It was just like,
okay.
It was like, fight back, and he just wouldn't. You know what I mean? And then second half, it was like, okay, he's out here, he's ready. Obviously, with the 3:00 kickoffs, I obviously watched the Arsenal one. I think Arsenal played really well. Obviously, Wolves, I think, are a good team. I think Gary O'Neill is a criminally underrated manager because he's English. Then, obviously, with the Liverpool match, we spoke a little bit about that. I
don't think that there's anything to add to that. Like,
I agree. I just think Ipswich were really impressive. Then, Chelsea, Man City.
I was quite happy about that. Not because Man City won, but because Chelsea lost.
See, it's one of those matches for me as an Arsenal fan. I come into it, and it's like a lose-lose. Whoever wins, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to decide who I want to win more. I wanted Chelsea to win more, and I think Chelsea did play really good football. For most of the match, it was just 1-0, and that's a respectable... I'm not going to lie, 2-0. But I know it's at Stamford Bridge. It's respectable for the Chelsea from last season.
Look at the stats of the players. The highest rated player of Chelsea, I think it was Cucurella.
Oh my goodness, that's just poor.
I know. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry to say that, but they scored 2 goals. Cucurella did nothing to stop them, and Haaland humbled him. But how can you give him a 7.0?
I mean, I look at the stats, right? And obviously, I don't like looking at stats too much. But Chelsea had almost equal possession to Man City. Man City had 51%, and Chelsea had 48%. Then shots on target, City had 2 more and 5, and then Chelsea had 3. City had 11 shots, Chelsea had 10. You know what I mean? So it's like, realistically, it was really close.
And yet, Man City won 2-0.
Yeah, because that's Man City. You know what I mean? That's the levels of it. It's like, that's why I expect there to be a big gap between second and third. It's Chelsea getting a 2-0, obviously not the greatest and still not good enough for the Chelsea of like the days gone by. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they've done a good job playing wise. The levels of play, obviously for the goals, poor.
Yeah.
But overall good, in my opinion. It's promising.
Do you think that they will catch up then?
I think they might finish like Europa League. I think they'll get Europa League.
Okay. Yeah,
because it's 2 teams that get Europa League, isn't it? So I think,
isn't it? Yeah, 2 teams.
So I think it'll be Chelsea and Spurs.
Okay, I get you.
or maybe even Villa. I don't know, somewhere around there. I think Chelsea will be around it.
I think Villa will get to
Chelsea will be
Champions
around
League.
it. Oh no chance.
So we spoke about Leicester and Spurs.
A little bit, but not much. So obviously, I wasn't able to watch the first half, which I was very glad about because Spurs scored. I was playing football myself, and then on my way home,
Jamie Vardy scored.
I watched the second half, and I was like, Leicester are coming out here because they came out swinging, and I liked it.
That's what he did.
Oh, I loved it. Just the Premier League badge won, you guys. It was amazing. I mean, it's what I've missed in the Premier League. Characters. You know what I mean?
I think that Jamie Vardy's going to make this season so good, just by the way he is.
I hate when he plays against Arsenal, but I hate when he plays against my team. I love it.
I love watching Jamie Vardy playing. Like, he's just a powerhouse. Does whatever he wants, and that's what's good about him.
He's a good player.
He just doesn't care.
But he does not care at all, and I love it. He'll mess about. Obviously, everyone knows the little eagle thing he did in front of all the Palace fans and everything. 2 foot in the flag. Like,
exactly.
He'll just do whatever he feels like doing. And I think that's just, it's quality. He went in there, he scored a simple header, because obviously he won't be scoring the same types of goals he did when he was in his prime. He's old now, he's 37, I believe. Yeah. So he's not going to be that level, but wow, well done, man.
What I said at the beginning, I think he's the only one, I might be wrong, but he's the only one in the squad that's got the Premier League experience, and he's actually won it. He can.
No, there's other people with playing in the Premier League, but obviously those are all the ones who got relegated and didn't win it. So, you know what I mean? He's got that good experience there, but for me,
he can drag the team to mid-table, or like maybe lower one, but not relegation, and then from next season, I don't know when he's gonna retire, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll retire probably next season, maybe season after.
He's going to be the next Roy Kent, then managing.
No, I don't think he will. I think Jamie Vardy's he'll just chilling. He'll be drinking Red Bulls. Maybe he'll go on Monday Night Football. I don't know. You'll see Red Bull in hand, just like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
if I was a TV producer, I would not put him on TV.
I like him.
You'd get given you so many fines. He would just say whatever he wanted. But I think with that result, Leicester have proven that they're a good side, and also Spurs have shown how Spursy they are. Obviously, I'm going to say that as an Arsenal supporter.
Even without Kane, they are just a cursed team.
Yeah, I mean, Kane obviously he's just Spursy himself, which is why he's in that situation. But I think Dom Solanke's went in, and don't get me wrong, I think he'll be good. But I think it was Jamie Carragher was talking about on Monday Night Football. He said it's the perfect Spurs signing. He is that Spurs level. He's not the level to be a top striker at a big team like Liverpool, United, like Arsenal.
Did you just say United?
Yeah, Arsenal's still a big team. Obviously, they've got worse strikers at the moment, in my opinion. Okay. But
you're just talking about the actual...
Yeah, the stature of the club. So he's never going to be good enough for those clubs. But for Spurs, they'll love him. And he'll be like a little fan favourite and everything. But the most they'll win ever, in my opinion, is maybe a League Cup. Potentially an FA Cup. But I don't see it.
Carabao Cup.
That's the League Cup.
Yeah, I'm just reiterating what you're saying.
Okay, I thought you thought it was a different thing. I was just I was just letting you know, man. But I don't see him winning anything, and I think it's very Spursy of them. They're there, they're 1-0 up, they're comfortable against a newly promoted team, they're playing away, which is difficult to be comfortable against a newly promoted team. And then, when teams get promoted and then first up, look at Liverpool in that first half. You come out swinging. I didn't want Arsenal against one of the newly promoted teams' first game, because sometimes they'll just turn you over because they'll come out swinging and they're ready to go. Every player in that team, all the fans, they've been waiting years. Obviously with them it's just that 1 year, but they've been waiting. They're excited, and they're against one of the big boys, which is what you go to watch football for most of the time. So for me, I saw that and I was like, okay, I don't want to play against them. But that's a tough match, but still, being 1-0 up, you should be able to just put your foot on the gas, just score another goal, and you're in it. You're chilling. But they couldn't. And I was very happy about that.
Just because...
Oh, yeah, of course. I hate Spurs. I am Arsenal, therefore I hate Spurs.
They're just a not likeable team then? Or is it just because you are an Arsenal fan?
It's purely because I'm an Arsenal fan.
Fair enough. Thank you for clarifying.
I mentioned at the start, I'm deluded, but I'm very self-aware. If I wasn't an Arsenal fan, I probably wouldn't care.
Okay.
But I am, so I hate them.
Good. Okay. Well, I think... Well, talking about Brighton and Everton, have you watched the match?
Brighton and Everton. No, it was one of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, so I wasn't able to watch it,
Okay.
I believe.
So, Brighton, of course, are a really good team. They won 3-0, but this
With their new manager. Obviously, with Brighton's... they've changed their manager around and everything, which was very interesting. Because, obviously, at the start of the season, there was all those question marks around... Oh, will the manager be able to do anything? Is he good? I mean, I can't even remember his name. I'm trying to pull it up now, but I can't even find it. He's like some young, unheard of manager. And that's really interesting that he came in, won 3-0 immediately.
But they're against Everton.
Yeah, but let's be real. Like, let's look at the lineup for Everton. So for Everton, they had Pickford in net. They had, to be fair, that is a stinky back line. Why are they not starting?
Exactly.
I didn't even look, because obviously they've got their new defender on the bench. And then obviously I think, what's it called? Branthwaite was injured. So we've got a makeshift defence. So that might give up a little bit. But obviously if they do get injuries to those main defenders in their team, it shows that...
They're screwed.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Relegation.
And it's getting rid of Onana. They've not really replaced him, is the issue.
Again, relegation team.
I'm sorry, but
Sorry.
it's just after seeing
it's only the first.
After seeing him last game of the season, some random geezer who won't be having any right to score will just bang one from the edge of the box and they'll stay up. That's the way I see it.
I will be quite annoyed about it. It's what happened to Forest last season.
It's the way I look at it is it's only frustrating because you look at them and you see them staying up each season by the skin of their teeth and doing nothing to improve. That's what frustrates me. Because
it should make you happy because you're an Arsenal fan. So
what if they're staying up?
Yeah, just.
I have no impact on Everton. It's just with Everton, the way I look at it is they're a solid team in the past, and they've just obviously the ownership's changed, that sort of stuff. They've got loads of issues with that. Obviously, Premier League last season they would have done a lot better. But when you look at a squad that is constantly selling their good players and not buying in players to improve, like with me, if I'd sold Onana, I'd be looking for a striker, a cheap one, but a good one in Europe. One which you could find, random place.
Yeah.
Just bring him in. Everton in years gone by would have got Fulkrug instead of West Ham. And that's a fact.
But they didn't.
No. Because they don't have the money, and that's the reason why they will struggle. But
yeah,
I don't think they'll go down, and that will be frustrating to me. Because I think if you're going to be in relegation scraps each year, just go down. Just go down. For the fans. They deserve to see some wins.
They're going down.
I don't think they will.
Okay, we'll see at the end of the season.
We will.
Do you want to bet?
How much?
A new football top.
So for next season's new football top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I like that.
Perfect.
That's on camera.
That's on camera, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to get my new football shirt. Ooh. Name on the back.
Calafiori, number 33.
Premier League badge or Champions League?
It depends if they win the Champions League.
Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Of course you would. Anyway.
I think that's everything which we've covered.
Should we wrap up? Yes, I think. Thank you for watching, if you're watching this podcast.
Obviously, we'll be going over what happened in the Premier League next week. Obviously, we won't have predictions in there, so we'll spend a bit more time on what actually happened in the matches rather than just what we think is going to happen for the entire season. So, yeah. Thank you very much for watching.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.